We like, where these houses come from?
People come by here. All right, let's see. The Derby Town Hall Board meetings. All right.
Short agenda.
Good, it's a great thing.
I know, right? It's a Monday. Nobody wants to be here forever.
What's the game plan now? How long do we gotta wait till we vote on something again?
Well, you know, we haven't even talked about it, Anthony. Has not even talked about it. We're licking our wounds right now. Focusing on strategic plan.
The vote looks good.
Everybody was looking good.
I know.
I think it's because I was out of town and I kept reading like Facebook and everything was good and there was like a group
Yep.
that got on Facebook.
Well, it's that,
And it was just, it was nonstop bashing.
Bashing.
100%. And then every comment afterwards got worse and worse and there was more people joining in.
I commented on one of them. I said, you know, it's something to sit behind the computer screen and make all these complaints about people and the mayor and all these folks. How about you get out and get engaged in the community? Maybe you could have something. I sure did.
Good.
Don't bother me.
Yeah, I was just like,
When I said something, he said something about where you live. I said, I'm 3315 Travis Parkway. Come on, I'll be waiting on you in the yard, waiting on you in the driveway. I guarantee you when you get there, you'll turn around.
Well, 11%.
Yeah, that's,
How does that rate?
it's pretty normal.
Pretty normal.
For special elections, it's very normal for Bryant. Now, general elections and I guess primaries
Yeah.
usually turn out better.
So I think if we could get that thing back on there for the
Pretty
end,
much, yeah.
and that,
and we can get it back on like the general election or primary election, we may get more votes. You may get it passed, but that would be, I don't know if they would even want to revisit it.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, that's just my thought.
Well, something that I saw that, somebody was saying is because of the location,
Mhm.
they're like, if it would have been at a different
no,
area,
they still would have complained.
it would have turned out better.
Right. Yeah. All right. I'll call the meeting to order, May 19th, 2025, 6 PM. It's actually 6:03. First item on the agenda is our unapproved minutes from the March 17th meeting. Does anybody want to entertain a motion to approve those?
I motion that we approve.
Yeah, that's true. Sad announcement, Chris did reach out to me on Friday. He's had to drop the community engagement committee. He got a new job, and he also is doing some stuff after hours. So he wanted to send his regards. So I did, somehow, we were just so lucky that Carolyn happens to be in Ward 2.
Work too, yeah.
Yeah. And I have asked her to consider joining the committee. I told her she doesn't have to give me an answer tonight. She can think about it for a few days. Yeah. I've told her she does not.
I got the one last month.
I'll send it again. I think I sent it to you though. So if you didn't get that email, I would like you to consider that. The mayor would also like you to consider that, but we're not putting you on the spot. We want you to think about it for a few days. If it's not what you're looking for, that's totally fine. So, and
that
then
leaves what, Yesenia and Ward 2, and then we still on backfield,
Dustin,
yes.
and that's Ward 4, I believe. Three. Okay, 3. So, we're looking for Ward 3, 2, and Ward 2 if Carolyn doesn't
Okay.
want to join.
Well, I'll make a deal with you. I live in Ward 2, so I can go to Ward 2 with Yesenia, and we just have to backfield 2 and 3.
I come anyway.
I'll stay in 3 anyway, because, I mean, that's why I started it.
Right.
But, I mean,
Something to consider though.
that's something to consider.
Yep. If we have a hard time filling that, then,
Yeah. And that way we can bring 2 fresh faces on and give somebody else a chance to serve, no matter what, we still need 2 that ward and then fill up, Dustin.
okay. So, second on the agenda is Duck Derby. What went well? What can we do better? Anything you have to say about Duck Derby?
Do you have that list? Who won the free, membership of Bishop?
I think he did, he won.
Did you win?
You won something.
How am I supposed to
I
know?
remember you winning something.
Only $4,000 I spent.
Yeah, right.
So during the event, a few of us talked about some stuff to bring next year. So we talked about wanting to actually decorate the booth to be, you know, Duck Derby themed. So we talked about getting some rubber ducks with the city logo on them, and then doing a cute little kiddie pool that we can just use every year and just have the ducks floating around and people can take them out. Like, kids love ducks for some reason.
And I just bring this up just because I had an event with a Riceland, actually gives out little squishy ducks, like stress balls, that just literally is
Cute.
this little duck, and it just says Riceland on there. So I can ask him where they got it from.
Yeah.
He had thousands of them. He was just handing out.
Oh, that'd be great.
How the games work out, the toss.
It was great. Kids loved it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Probably.
Basic, but I thought it went well.
Yeah.
Everybody played
I
it.
think it was good. Something, for the candy and stuff like
Mhm.
that, with like little stuff to hand out, 'cause that's always bring people to your table, draw them to your table. And then questions, and then, I know we set up or whatever, but I had to go. Like talking to some of the different, people that were out there, was good, communicating with them, 'cause they said, hey, who are you guys?
Mhm.
It was the Methodist church right back up the street up here. And I told them who we was, what we was doing, so they was enthused by that. So just mingling with the other people, even some of the runners, they was like, what you guys doing out here? What you guys doing Texas stuff? Of course, they know us with Duck Derby, but like, who are we and what we were doing? So
Right.
we make sure that always to communicate that up front, because they wanted to hear it. Once I told them who we were, and they said, oh, okay, you guys in the city. Oh, okay. No, not necessarily. Make sure we separate that, but I thought that was a good thing. It went well.
Did we have some of our handouts?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, people grab those.
You mentioned a QR code in the bag or something like
Yeah.
that.
We talked about, because, you know, at those festivals, they'll just walk around collecting stuff in their arms. So we talked about maybe next year trying to get some bags
Yeah. we need-
with the
my
city
bags.
logo and maybe a QR code to our website, so they can use the bag, you know, anytime, but that way we're,
Plus, we could use that all year round.
Right.
If there was a clear bag next to
Mhm.
the city of Bryant with the QR code.
yep.
And then maybe something going forward. I know we just finished with this, but the next, October, what's up?
Fall Fest.
Fall Fest.
Yep.
So it'd be something going forward to that. We got time, 'cause this is May?
Yeah.
We go in October, so we got time to kind of put that in effect and see how it would work there. And we come back around to the next couple of events, we still use those ideas or whatever, 'cause you know how that goes. And we walk around talking to folks, got food vendors and all that kind of stuff out there. We know, still pushing, having the information, the flyers, the QR codes, or whatever. If we're doing a survey again or whatever, you know, we can actually do another survey about the BAM or anything like that, you know, to push what we're trying to get pushed. And then, you know, the consideration about the water facility plant, and then just the other things that's out there.
Anybody got anything else about Duck Derby?
The 5K went well.
The 5K was really good. There were probably, I don't know, Randy, how many do you think?
And it was full. We was out there
Yeah,
this morning.
there were a couple hundred that did just the 5K.
I know last year they capped it at like 68. It was a weird number.
Oh, no, it was a lot. There was a lot of people in the
Yeah.
5K, yeah.
But that was for T-shirts. They
And-
still allowed people to run who didn't get a T-shirt.
There were over 100, I know.
Yeah.
The parking lot was full when we got there to set up, so that should tell you something. Like, when we pulled up, I pulled up and he pulled up short behind, and Jordan came behind that. I'm looking around like, well, these people, why you doing that? So I forget it was about to run, so, yeah.
And when's the Fall Fest?
October,
First Saturday.
Bishop. A big open area.
They used to do a 5K with Fall Fest, I think. Do y'all remember? Lisa, do you remember?
Yes, they did.
They did?
Yeah, they used to.
Yeah, I don't think they do it anymore, but I know they used to.
Well, this has been decent the last
It was a
couple
5K,
of
Yeah.
years.
well, part of the triathlon had a 5K, but it went back up to
Mhm.
neighborhood.
So, do we have an exact date? I can look it up real quick.
And is that first weekend in the month?
Also had a lot of good comments, I thought, or questions,
Mhm.
particularly about speeding through Henry.
Yeah.
hearing that for some time, ain't you? Every day.
That one the only one. That one other place people were speeding. Just saying, that was speeding. We got some more speeding things.
All the way around.
I was able to have a couple conversations about the strategic plan, so that was
Mhm.
good. Get that out in front of people.
Yeah, that's gonna be the next big thing.
And the information about the BAM, just handing it out.
Mm.
We're past that now.
Fall Fest will be on Saturday, October 4th this year. Okay, if there's nothing else about Duck Derby, we can move on to the town hall. How does everybody feel like that went?
Heard a lot of good comments. We're gonna do one like that again, like a big one like that again?
I would like to.
sometime?
Me too.
I would like to do those a couple times a year, maybe 1 to 2 times a year, just do a full citywide town hall. And then, you know, in the middle of those, Siri's listening to me. In the middle of those, we can have our ward meetings, just, you know, as fillers. When the months we're not doing a town hall, maybe we can have a couple ward meetings.
Probably if we had gotten those negative people to the town hall. Were they there?
There was
Yes, on there.
1 or 2.
They,
We had about 5.
they weren't happy, which I understand, they weren't happy that we weren't taking hand-raised questions. And the reason that we did it that way was because we were worried that all of the questions would be about the BAM. And we couldn't look like we were having a town hall just about the BAM. Then it looks like we're promoting it, we're promoting a yes vote. And so we wanted to just, if you have questions, write them down on a piece of paper or sticky note. Some people didn't want to do that. We probably won't do it that way moving forward unless everybody just thinks it was a great idea. We'll probably allow for, you know, if they have a question during, you know, if the mayor's up there talking and they're like, I just thought of a question, let them raise their hand and ask a question. So that was the reason we did it that way. And of course, if you guys think that was a good way of taking questions,
I personally liked it.
I did too.
yeah,
I really think that there were people that were coming baited,
yeah.
and it's kind of like when we went to that thing at state, and these other cities were saying that they've had to have police come in and pull people off of each other. And it just leans to a free-for-all. And I think that people should understand.
We tried, you know, we put out a post about a month out of the town hall asking if people had questions. We got 1 question submitted. So I don't really, other than just, you know, either doing a sticky note or letting them ask questions at the event, I don't know of a better way.
I think I liked how you had the different
It's organized.
categories, and that way, I think if they get used to
Mhm.
writing them down, so then in the future, we're gonna have more questions.
Mhm.
That way, it could be different topics and not just whatever's at that moment.
Right.
So, for instance, if it would have been back a little bit, in the previous years, all the questions would have been about the water bill.
Mhm.
And at this meeting, everything would have been about the BAM. And so that way, he was able to talk about streets, about speeding, stormwater. And I think that is I think going forward, it would be a good way. That way he can answer different questions.
Mhm.
Like you said, and then if there's a lot more, then he can do a video.
Right.
Could we have something other than a sticky note?
Well,
You know, because that wouldn't give,
and that's
I'm
what I
not gonna put it.
Right.
And that's what I was about to say, if we did that QR code, where you can go ahead and submit your questions, and it automatically goes to you, whatever he doesn't get to, he can put on the website, and hey, these were unanswered questions, and just have everything listed.
Do we think people would be more willing to submit a question on their phone while they're sitting there than writing it down?
So I can,
Maybe.
and he can probably elaborate more on it. I know for like a military school, when there's just a QR code and they can do it on their phone,
Mhm.
it's done legitimately. When they had to sit there and write something, it's NA, turn it in.
So we do one every class. At the end of my class, at the end of the course, we do a critique or whatever of us as instructors teaching the course, of the course material, facilities, all that. They get to do that. We answer, of course, to what the course is, we don't really enforce the material that we teach. The facilities that belong to someone totally else than us, but we usually get a good number of people to do that. You're always gonna have people that's gonna have questions. They're not gonna write their questions down. They're not gonna type their questions on the phone. They wanna talk directly to him in that forum, you know, for whatever the reason is. I think the way we did it, was strategic, because what it did, you know, showing the videos and him talking about each one of those specific topics allowed him to answer some of the questions, maybe some of the questions people did have. He was able to corral the questions that they have because he answered them along the way. Now, you're gonna always have some people that just gotta have that question, or, you know, they wanna see it in person or talk in person. And maybe we should open the floor to allow him to do it. But if we do something like that, and you guys kind of help me out on this one, my thing, if we do something like that, that way it don't turn into a free fall, if we just streamline the time. We got this amount of time for whatever questions is gonna come. I answer this amount of questions from the floor. Any unanswered questions, hey, you can submit them through this QR code, or you can do it across your phone, and hey, I'll put this out on the video and I'll answer any unanswered questions. He's already proven that he'll do that. So his track record is fair and it's across the board. He'll answer those questions. I think you can do that. Now, it'd be up to him and you all, not you all, him and you guys, if y'all decide y'all want to do that going forward, if he wants to do that. But I just think at some point with some people, you're gonna run into that, or they feel like, well, why am I even coming here because you ain't gonna answer my question? Well, we answer your question. We just ask you to do it in a different format so that we can hear your question. And I think we projected that up front from the initial start of the meeting until it was over with. You know, now whether they're gonna be satisfied with that, that's a whole different thing. But I think we answered that at the beginning. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think we did a good job in that. Now, the sticky note gonna be what it's gonna be. People gonna be people. So, and I don't want to insult anybody, but that's just the way it is. That's just the way it goes. So how they do it is how they do it. How we did it, I think it was still fair enough to where they could. If they wrote it down, they could get their question answered while they were there. Now, there was some corner to when we got ready to leave out the stuff, he was there, you know, but it's what it is. That's just, it is what it is.
And if you do take it digital, then you can put it on the website beforehand for anybody who can't show up. You know, so you can put your question here, it'll possibly get answered then or after.
Yeah, because it's got to be some type of way to get it to them prior to. They can't make the meeting. That way they feel like their question is being answered and it's not being avoided. But that's again, it's just my opinion.
No, I hear you.
So are we wanting to do the raise your hand and ask questions, or are we wanting to write it down?
I say a form of both.
QR code or what?
I say
I
both.
wonder if we could do both.
I say both.
Because I just got back
Or
from
three.
school, and that's how it was for us. We had a politician come in, and there were already questions that we had done beforehand, and at the very end, he was like, I got 5 minutes to answer any questions. And like, they were keeping track, was like, I got 1 minute left, I can do one more question. It was like done after that.
So maybe we could have flyers that they could maybe pick up on their way in that have the QR code where they could submit their questions.
And sticky notes, they can make sticky notes.
We could do
We
sticky notes.
might wanna write it down.
Sticking out a
Or
QR code
maybe even
and
like the half-size Post-it notes that they make. And then we could also put it on the screen. Like for the slideshow. Right.
And if we could also keep it online, I say all year. If you've got a complaint, you can send us, here's a little
Was that
QR code, fill it out.
If it could be that, the one QR code that we can have at our booth whenever we do Duck Derby and the fall festival, one QR code, and we can use it throughout all the meetings too.
Yeah.
And, because, you know, whenever we have our award meeting, we can use that same system.
Yep.
And then during the events, we can be like, we have questions.
Yeah,
You
because
know.
want to be able to give them want to be able to give them that freedom in any event that we do, anything that we're doing. They got questions to submit your question here, or, you know, they can, even if someone want to write it down, be able to take it and then be able to take that data and bring it back so that somehow, you know, they can scan the QR code, put it in there or whatever. Some type of way that we get the questions so that the mayor can see it and then he can answer them.
I'm thinking, can we have so sorry, we can have like a box where they can write the question and put it in there, but at the same time, it has a slot with the QR code on it.
Right.
If they wanna do the
In
QR
multiple
code.
ways.
Yep. And that's if we do that, we can have a frequently asked questions.
Mhm.
There's gonna be a lot of people probably asking the same stuff.
Same stuff, yeah.
So then we can just start addressing that, saying, hey, we've had
Here's a list of frequently
30
asked
or
questions.
40, residents ask about this.
And have
in the
that
last
on the
90
table at
days.
any event that we have, therefore they can see the frequently asked questions and see the answers.
Mhm.
And now your question has been answered time and time again, so we can move on. Sorry, y'all, that's that military uniform in me, a matter of fact. It is what it is. Tell my students the same thing, it is what it is. I done asked the question 5 times. How much more you need?
You could probably utilize that QR code on the water bill,
Mm-hmm.
The newsletter,
the newsletter.
Yep.
that's a good idea too.
Mm-hmm, put it in there too. That's good.
Do it, months ahead of time.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Each month.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
We just do reminders in every newsletter.
Mr. Wade got that thinking cap on down there, y'all.
Announce the town hall meeting on those.
Yeah.
Yes,
Mhm.
that and probably at city council during the mayor's comments. I'll make sure he starts announcing whenever we start doing those again.
Everybody gets water bill.
Oh, yeah, they get it.
Not everybody gets
Oh,
a
what?
newsletter.
Not everybody?
Why not?
Now, if you get your water from Salem,
Okay,
you
that
don't get
makes
a
sense.
newsletter.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if you don't get a paper bill, if you don't get a newsletter.
So that may be
It's
something.
like water bill, water well.
We have a database of like 7,500 emails
I get mine in
for water bills, but those, I mean, you're right, they don't, unless somebody signed up on Notify Me, they don't get them if they're well water or Salem water. Even if they just get their sewer from us, I don't think they're getting a water bill.
Yeah, so Salem, those users
Okay,
get their water from Salem, but their sewer is up.
gotcha.
It's a crazy bill.
Yeah. Are ready for our long story?
Long story lady. After the fact, Jack and I went up to the AT&T store at Walmart. And there's 3 people in there, and they're all probably 40, 30, whatever. And then a lady about my age came in. And
43? Mhm.
oh, yeah. Something came up about the ban. I don't know why it came up in this, but if we had had those 4 people in that room, I mean, it was just like wealth of information. Don't you think so? Doc, don't you agree? There's a guy named Lance, and he is very, like, geeky, and he's sharp. I mean, but he's practical. And when we said this is what we were gonna do, man, the whole room was like, I would have loved that. I would have voted for that. And we're going, And, that was part of it. But, Lance started in on this whole plan to make the market, what do we call them that? Marketplace. A walking,
Yeah.
to walk, for things for people to do. He says, I know they don't really do that anymore, but, pool hall, arcades,
Mhm.
something along those lines to draw people over there to do things. I mean, everything he was saying was, yeah. And then, the lady, in fact, it happened to have been, her job was a marketer. She's been a marketer. And she's saying that there are people who have the knowledge to pull all these, like, next door,
Mhm.
Facebooks, all these, off the rack, social media things, and pull them to where this information can be shared in that way. And it just boils down to everything we did was not enough.
Mhm.
And I honestly believe that we would have had more votes for the ban if they knew about it.
Mhm.
I can't fathom why people can't see billboards. I don't know, or they just kind of look at it, well, I don't know what that is, move on. Something, because it was generally the fact that they did not know.
Mhm.
They didn't get out and vote.
Yep.
Only 11% of the electorate.
Yes, and that's the the biggie.
Would
In my
it
opinion.
surprise you to know that 65% of the voters are age 55 and above?
Wow.
That's all right.
I think it has nothing to do with them.
Yeah.
And yet, they have to drive to Oaklawn. It has something to do.
55 plus, isn't that old?
Well, I can say this. That's funny.
Suzanne Passmore said that she was at the First Baptist Church voting day. And she said, there was not one person that was coming in to vote that was less than 80. And she's pretty sure that they all voted against it.
Of course.
Because, said the word tax. They don't want Bryant to grow.
I still think it's the PR thing.
Well, here's another thing about that. So let me say this. If you drove up and down Highway 5, all the way till you get into the other part of the whatever it is right there, I forget it, but y'all know what I'm talking about. You drive all the way up and down there. It's on the billboards, it's on the TV, on commercials, or in the commercials, it's everywhere. So for me to say that I did not know it, and I knew more about it before we saw, once the advertisers, of course, I'm here, but I had people say, hey, what's the band? Where you see that at? Oh, man, I was driving down the road. I saw a little sign on the side of the road. I saw it on the billboard by the water tower. I saw it by the dollar store down Highway 5. I saw it going the other way. I saw it over there by Walmart in the field. Because signs were everywhere. It was on the TV. It's on the electronic billboards up and down Highway 30. So for you to say that you don't know, unless you just don't get out and you blind, I can't buy that one. Can't buy that one. Now, getting out to go vote, totally different. That's totally different. That's on you if you just didn't go vote, but that's totally different. I can understand the older population because they're not used to change. Who likes change? No one likes change. And if I can't see a way that it benefits me, then why should I do it? You know, but for them to say, well, I didn't know about it. Man, you drove down this road. I mean, every 10 feet or so, I see a sign that says BAM on it. And then it's on it's everywhere. So, you know, it just goes down to, I'm saving face with you because I really don't want to tell you that I just didn't want it. So I'm going to go vote for it, and the population ain't going to come out and vote for it, and I win. Simple as that.
But outside of the BAM vote and the other vote we had, see, I'm new to Bryant.
MP.
What is the problem
I think they're all just uneducated.
with these people not registering to vote, not voting? I mean, it's like,
Yeah. I think it's that. I think it's that people,
it's not important until.
they don't realize that it affects them. You know, either way they vote, everything that they would vote on is going to affect them in some way, shape, or form.
But even the AMP tax, like if someone would actually research what AMP tax is, then they're like, oh, that's probably a really important thing that we need for our city since everybody else has it but us. And it's not necessarily coming out of your pocket if you're a resident. So if it is, then you've probably got other issues if you're getting a hotel room in your own town.
I think it's really what's the easiest way to get them the information, because, I mean, they touted Saline County as one of the highest turnouts during the presidential midterm elections. We dropped down a little bit, so in a special election, it's almost obvious that the voting turnout is gonna be low. What do we have, 2 locations? for the vote as well.
And they weren't the normal locations.
So I would just start asking, like, I mean, we do a lot already as far as social media, as far as the flyers, the letters, so there's already a lot of information going out, so I don't think it's about pushing the information out. I think it's more about encouraging people to do something. How is it that we encourage people to do that? And that's where we should start.
It's almost a question of, you know, we've discussed, even in like our department head group, you know, is it special elections that people, number one, they have mistrust if there's a special election going on. They say that we're trying to slip something in behind their backs because we expect low voter turnout. You know, they say we're only telling the people who we think are going to vote yes, because apparently those are the only ones who are going to get out for a special election, and that's just not the case. It almost sounds as if no one shows up for a special election. That was...
Was it during a general, or was it
It was-
AMP, was it special?
Yeah, it was special. And then the last mayor election was a special. And even that election saw 2,000 votes, I think?
Yeah.
So my question is, if it got voted down now, can we have it again when we have the primary election?
No, sir.
So how long do you have to?
wait
2 years.
Yeah.
Why would we push it? That was a bad choice.
And the bond will be almost paid off by then.
Of course, literacy, we had the statistics, that's 1 out of 5 adults. And they had some survey, not read below level 1. So they're not gonna vote. They can't have someone reading to them.
Right.
But even then, though, like some of the band stuff, you know, heck, I had tons of people, like you said, ask me questions about it. It's like, oh, I seen a sign, what is it? You didn't want to research it? Like, I'm not trying to be mean, like, they're friends, and I'll tell them, you know, like, come on, bro. Like,
So it becomes, how do you meet them where they are, though?
All that you can do is give them truthful information and let them decide what they're gonna do with it at that point, you know what I mean? No, I'm just saying from their standpoint, if they want themselves, you know what you know about it, and just, you have to be upfront with them and just say, hey, listen, I'm not trying to sway you either way. Hey, I'm just telling you, these are the facts about it, and then let them decide, you know, will you go and vote for this? Do you think this would benefit us, benefit you, benefit your kids to come, the grandkids, or whatever the case is, and give them the facts of it? Because that's all, at that point, that's all you can do. That's all you can do.
I'll throw this out there, because it makes me laugh. So somebody was talking about, why don't we have a facility in Saline County that's big enough, because we just had the little VOTEC graduation that was in Hot Springs, right? So the little VOTEC thing is in Saline County, and they had to go all the way to Hot Springs to have it, because there wasn't nowhere big enough, right, in Saline County. And I was like, well, you know, the BAM could have facilitated that. First thing out of their mouth was it wasn't big enough because the Bank OZK Arena in Hot Springs holds 6,500. And it was like the BAM was half of that. But you still voted it down. You know what I'm saying? Like, you still could have had it. And I was like, well, it won't be big enough for even the Bryant graduation. You know, you want something, but yet when they try, you still vote it down, but you complain. So maybe that was an issue. It wasn't big enough. I don't know.
I've heard that the location wasn't good, the venue wasn't big. Mistrust.
I didn't hear about it.
That, people just didn't trust the partnership between the city and the chamber.
And I don't know how big, you know, we had to have something for Bryant graduation, how many people, you know. we need
They go to
look at
War
that.
Memorial, don't they?
Students
Yeah.
and 4 or 5 per student, so,
At least 5,000 people.
yeah.
Yeah.
But this has been something that we've seen, and that's the reason that we exist as a community engagement committee. So how are we, I think there's a difference between getting them information and then encouraging them to actually vote on the information that they have or do something with it. And I mean, you look at a societal trend is people, it's an instant gratification world that we live in. So how do we make it easier for people? You're asking them to go beyond what they're already doing every single day to do something extra that they may not even agree with. So how do we make it easier for them? How do we make it more palatable for them?
If we, I say we educate now. So if people mistrust during a special election, which I would agree with that.
Mm.
I don't mistrust, but I would agree that that's
Right.
okay, so if during Fall Fest, we're there, and part of what we do is educate that if in 2 years we vote on the bond again, it's not a new tax. We're just reissuing a bond. And if there's ever an A&P tax, which, we don't know yet if there is, but if there's ever a push for that, it's not really a tax on our citizenry, unless you eat out. And then it's only, 3%? Well, I don't know, half, I don't even remember what it was, 0.5%.
I think Mayor Tree did a good job.
But if we, instead of trying to educate during the push, when everybody's kind of like leery of it, you educate now about what those mean. And they're not just those two things. What other things are out there that we need, Bryant citizens to understand about what the council and the city is trying to do, whether it's a venue or, annexations, widening Highway 5, I see that map every month. All of these things that we can educate now while there's not distrust already embedded, and there's not a lot of, social media pushing against that.
I think that's how you encourage them.
I think a lot of people have been amazed at the market stores coming up. So if we can developing that, make it the center, have a place where we can meet as a community.
Told them where we was trying to do them at, where they wanted it at, because heck, all I see is office space over there they're putting in. I don't know if anything they're really good they're bringing in. I just drove by it and they just built a whole nother, like 6,000 square foot of office space.
Stores and stuff.
Yeah.
There's a lot of drive-through there. There's much
There's about, what,
space in there.
20 boutiques?
So right now, it seems like
Yeah.
the strategic plan, that's kind of,
Correct. We need to educate on the strategic plan.
There's beauty shops.
I'd say simplifying the jargon is big, but
So I think one thing that we can do as a community is, since he said that, and
You did?
he said what he said, and you said what you said, so here's what I would propose that we do, that going forward, is this. When we come in here, let's make sure that we're educated on each and everything prior to the event that's coming up. If we do that, and possibly do what you're saying and what he's saying, we can encourage him that way. But in order for that to happen, that means each and every one of us sitting at the table, you gotta know what you're talking about. You gotta be able to answer the questions. And then it's gotta be broken down into the most simplest fact for the people, because again, think about what she said when the lowest level of reading and stuff like that. You gotta meet them where they are. I think I look at it like church. I always, when I'm talking to a parishioner, or when I'm talking to somebody that I want them to know who Christ is, I have to meet them where they are. Where they come from, what they look like, their background, don't matter. I gotta be strategic in meeting them where they are. If I'm gonna do that, and I gotta be educated on the things, what the word tells me, first and foremost. We have to be educated on those things, strategic planning, whatever it is. So when they step up to us and they have a question, well, hey, let me show you this, and then answer that question. Hey, let me tell you why this is important to the city of Bryant. This is why the council, this is why the chamber, this is why the mayor is pushing this. And then give them that. And then say, hey, give them literature. Here's the person that you would contact in your ward or whatever, if you need more information about it. But here's this. Or, hey, you got a phone? Scan this QR code. It'll take you to the city website. It'll give you all the information that you need. We're always do a really good job with that. Like I've seen us in action. We do a really good job with that. Outside of that, guys, I'm gonna be real with you sitting here. I'm a realist. I am straightforward. I don't know how much more encouragement outside of that you're gonna be able to do. Because I can't take your hand and drive you to the poll and make you vote.
No, but you said something very important.
What's that?
Meet people where they are.
Meet them where they are.
So when you're talking about doing these individual board meetings, I don't know what your plan is, but you're talking about doing individual board meetings? I
That's
would
gonna
do
happen,
them in the ward.
Yep.
We are.
Not over at Bishop, in the ward.
Yeah.
I mean, I can think in Ward One, I can think of a lot of places to host it, and
You got that little church softball soccer field over by your house.
You're,
That's the only place, that's the only place we got, because for some reason,
We don't have any good restaurants or coffee shops, so.
Yeah, that's the issue.
That was my complaint, is we don't have any restaurants or coffee shops
We
anymore.
do these wards because,
draw the lines.
yeah, I'm gonna need some businesses in my area.
Yeah, get you to a picnic
What
out
ward
there.
is it?
Yeah, Ward
mean,
one.
Ward one.
I got big red. That's it.
Yeah.
We have a lot of
Have hot
city
dogs
meetings,
there?
it's a lot, for a citizen to take in, I'm gonna be honest. So,
and I think you keep making connections with the community, and when you do that, it builds your
Build
community.
trust, it builds trust in us,
Yeah.
and then also build trust in what we're saying and what we're trying to help get across as an engagement. I mean, I'm just listening to us talking, I've listened to us over this whole time, not just me, just in general, how we've been doing this. It's like you gotta meet them where they are, and that's the best way I know how to meet them where they are, is right there. Encourage them at that point. Now, from that point, it's on them. Like, straight up, it's on them. So you can tell me something, I'm blue in the face, man, come on. It's gonna be on me to decide if I wanna do it or not. And ain't nothing in the world you gonna tell me that's gonna make me do it unless I wanna do it.
yeah, I just think that we're, maybe not weird, but I don't want us to mix up informing them and encouraging them to do something.
No, I got
Like
you.
you said, it's not a lack of information oftentimes. So how do we remove as many barriers as possible to get somebody to the polling place, or to get somebody to share their experience or their thoughts?
Might be something to think about. I'm with you on that, I'm with you.
Another thing is that, you know, we gotta look at towns that are comparable to ours. You know what I'm saying? Like, if they have, an event center already, like, hey, look, this town has an event center. This is how it's benefiting, you know, or impacting their town. They have a water park. This is how they're doing it. Or they have this, so that they can see that this isn't a bad thing. Because, again, reading all those same comments, people are afraid that the city of Bryant's gonna, you know, not be a small town vibe anymore, and we're gonna turn into Little Rock because, you know, that's why they
Taking all
moved
our
here.
money, that money.
Yeah, that's why we moved here, and it was just nonstop, same stuff. But if they see other towns that have it and how it hasn't, you've seen negatively impacted them. Like I said, we're just informing them. I'm not trying to encourage them, but hey, look.
I gotta say, those concerns are valid, though. Like, they're still a part of the community, so, I mean, hearing that voice is valid.
It is.
But
if I educate them.
On the other hand, I've been to a few, lived in several communities. It's always the school in a small community. Graduation is on the football field, or they don't go somewhere else. They do it in their town. I don't know if we, I don't have the history, but if we do it in the town, it builds up more spirit.
And, I mean, really, what you just said, like, yes, their concerns are valid, and we would almost rather hear more negative than positive if it means we're hearing more people. If it means that more voices are being heard, more residents are actually showing up, speaking at public comment, submitting questions, reading their mayor's memorandum or their agendas just to see what's going on. Even if they don't agree with it, we would rather them just be informed.
I have a question, Jordan, maybe, sorry. Go back to the town hall. Those of you that were at the town hall, what do you think the percentage of people that were tied to the city, either because they're on a committee, or they're a council member, or they are a city employee versus residents? What do you think the percentage?
It was more of us.
99. Yeah, 99, that's what I'm saying.
There was more of us than it was residents.
I would say if there were 80 people there, I bet
I think
65 to 70 were either
More than that.
committee members or city employees,
So 10% residents?
if that.
Okay, yeah.
So, like you said, we gotta get to where they're at, right?
Yeah.
So we're gonna go to Walmart. You understand, post up outside of Walmart, hand out QR codes, literature, go wherever they're gonna be at. I'm not trying to sell anything, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, hey, if you wanna leave a complaint for the mayor, you got a question, scan this QR code. We're just here for you. That ain't my ward, because I don't have no businesses in my ward except Big Red, but
I think that first meeting did, open the door to more people knowing about the committee, and, I just see a lot of people asking about it, and so I think, you know, the next ones, we might be able to, we're gonna have more people. But, everybody needs to understand, it's really hard, like even schools. How many flyers and notices do they send out, their school's gonna be out on the day? And you still have people trying to drop their kids off?
Right.
Or we have kids in the office, when I used to work, you have kids in the office because parents didn't come pick up their kids. And that's really important stuff, and they still don't read that, you know, and so stuff like this, if they don't read their kids' stuff, much less. But the more they know about it, the more I feel like they are gonna start getting involved. So I think this first meeting really opened the door for that. I did see a lot of comments of, I didn't know, you know, about this, and they're like, well, it's something new, and they're gonna start having these. And so these first ones, I'm sure we're not gonna have very many, non-committee members attend, but I think the more we do them, the more people are gonna find out about them, they're gonna start attending. And starting that trend of, we're gonna have QR codes, and we have this option for you to write a comment or ask a question. I think it's something that we're gonna start, where people are gonna be like, okay, this is how I can go get my question answered.
I think when you do when you do the individual board meetings, the investment of sign that you can reuse, format it, and that you can change the Ward 1 meeting, XYZ day, put it in the ward, where people are driving past it, and they see it, and they're,
Yeah, and we can even put the QR code on those signs, so if they can't make it to the board meeting, they can still submit a question.
Drive by and get their.
Rather than be like walking their dog or something and then take a picture.
Well, we have 4 months until Fall Fest, so I would just say, let's do Fall Fest really big, as part of like CEC. I know we don't throw it, but if we can make sure Fall Fest is we have a really good booth presence. We're informed, like Roger was saying, we have draws to our tent, and then we are prepared as far as QR codes go and everything like that, then we can build some more momentum. But I would say let's make Fall Fest as big as we can, because people are already gonna come.
Right.
We talk about less barriers, and then we can kind of launch out from there too.
It'd be pretty nice if the city could give us some nice matching shirts, you know?
Hey, I
Everybody knows who we are.
did get everybody's name badge in today, and none of them came with the magnetic backing. So I cannot give out name badges yet. But I did get them, and I am working on a logo for community engagement.
I will ask this question. Because last year we did Fall Fest, it was on the same day as, what did Ben do? Old Fashioned Day or something like that? That was, people still came, but it just took away a lot of the crowd.
I think,
So I would say, let's check into that, and if it's the same day, we need to figure out a different day to do it, because
I think
that won't be good for us.
last year it was on October 12th, which was the same day as Old Fashioned Days, and so they moved it up a weekend this year. So it'll be Fall Fest one weekend, and the next weekend it'll be Old Fashioned Days.
So have we reached out to, like, food trucks and different vendors already to try to get?
The chamber does.
The chamber does
Yeah.
that.
We just attend.
Yeah. I got too much to do.
Talk to a lot of people there though, so. We'll be all up on the strategic plan, we'll be able to rattle some of that stuff off. I like to be objective about it, you know. This is what's happening, this is what it means, this is how it fits into your life.
I'm also starting a new series on Facebook.
TikTok?
No, I'm not doing TikTok. You're gonna have to force me to download TikTok for residents before I start a We Are Bryant TikTok account. I do not have the capacity for that. But I am starting a series on Facebook, basically just going to each department, talking about, you know, what are your projects right now? If anybody watches the Lift Station 5 video, you'll see that whatever Tim is saying goes straight over my head as he's talking about it. But it's the thought that counts. I'm like, you know, the question is, in every video is, why should residents care about this? Why does this matter to the community? So hopefully we'll be able to use some of that stuff.
You put that on YouTube too?
Oh, but I can.
I would say streaming on
Reels.
every platform that you can. I know you don't wanna have a bunch of accounts, but, that'd probably be the best thing, because that's one way of getting it out there. And then you got your younger crowd, you gotta think about them, you got your older crowd, mid crowd. Here's what it is.
The 30s and, I don't know how many 30-year-olds are gonna be.
Or whatever
So,
accounts that you guys have. I'm not saying make a new account.
if you wanna reach that
You said
demographic,
younger than 30?
like 35, 40, and I don't know how many 40
With
are
those
on
guys.
Facebook, but
I would say
think we're
that's
all on
probably the
Facebook.
bigger,
We're just not on
yeah.
TikTok or what-
I'm saying.
I mean, I'm personally on TikTok, but I'm not gonna start a city.
I don't know how many, yeah.
Well,
Facebook is
people
where
can't
I-
say they didn't see the BAM, because
35,
I started this new
probably.
soap opera in Spanish, and then the BAM kept coming in. YouTube, just kept coming in
You see what I
there.
mean?
I didn't even know there was a
Everywhere,
YouTube commercial.
Everywhere.
Yes,
Yeah.
it keeps coming up there.
Is it still coming up?
I think so.
Maybe it does.
Punching people.
Those billboards need to come down ASAP.
Now, I know someone who has a water well water, and she noticed the mayor's video and talked to her. So maybe when we advertise for the award meetings, we should use email.
Yeah, we can do that too.
Can I ask a really big question? Why don't the people trust the city? You know, has just been awful things been going on all these years? And just,
Is it the water problem?
I think possibly.
I don't know.
I
don't know.
I would say that most cities probably have this issue. Maybe not to the extent that Bryant does. I would say some of the mistrust probably comes with, in one year, we had 3 mayors, you know?
Historical.
Water bills we will go down as one of the Arkansas cities that raised the water bills first. And now every other city is having to play catch up because their water infrastructure is falling apart. So other cities will start seeing those higher water bills, but right now, Bryant residents only care about the fact that Bryant residents are paying high water bills. And so they don't see other cities doing it, so they're like, what is going on in this city? They don't understand that, you know, we're trying to play catch up with failing infrastructure. We're trying to, you know, something like our wastewater or our stormwater has its own fund that keeps it going throughout the year. But they have every right to be frustrated. I came from Sheridan where the water bill was literally $30 a month. No extra charges or anything.
Y'all have, they're gonna bring in water buffaloes?
Well, right now, because it got struck by lightning. That's
Yeah, right, yeah.
That's a different situation.
Yeah, but I think all Arkansas cities will start seeing their water bills go up. They'll start matching about what Bryant's is, but it is fair to say that Bryant was one of the first to do that, and residents are gonna be like, why?
And we didn't communicate it well.
Right,
I mean, we voted it in, and
Mhm.
then bam, it hit the water
Right.
bills, and people were.
they were up in arms.
We shoot ourselves in the foot
Right.
a lot.
And even, because we talked about this like a month or two ago, like even the school tax, like it went up.
Mhm.
And it was like, I get it, we voted on it, but I don't think anybody knew exactly how much it was gonna go up. So,
But it's a mandate from the state also.
Yeah, that's
yeah,
right.
well, mandate from the state, school of choice, and like those parents paying for it too. Because I don't think we got,
Don't even get me
I
started.
don't think we got like 15,000 kids in this area, since we only got like 22 as a population, so.
Well, I think a lot of people do not want to see this city.
Mhm.
And so when this gets done, we need to make sure that the business around it stays
Well, you
there.
got 2 options. I'm from southern Arkansas, and I don't wanna be mean. Either the town can die or the town can grow. It's the only 2 options you have in Arkansas. So it's either we can let the individuals who moved here in the 90s control everything, so by 2030, it's a dead town, or we can evolve and try to make it a better town. That's our only,
Well, it's gonna have to evolve, because let's think about it, like I said at the beginning, it's 20,000 or not more folks in the last 10 years that come here. What you gotta do with all that? You gotta meet the needs of the infrastructure, and everything has to support the people that's gonna be here. And there's still more coming, because they love the area. They're gonna come. It's voted one of the top 100 places in the United States to live. People are coming to retire and wherever else here. to build a family, because that's what they see when they see it. I'm being honest. One of the things that drove me here 15 years ago was that.
So the two competing interests in building a family and retiring.
Just saying they coming.
So we get it. So what's the message that you send them? I think the best message that we can do is invest. Like, you know what happens when you don't invest in your own personal
Down
property.
Yep, exactly.
And I think for us going forward is we have to be honest as possible. And just with the information, encourage them, meet them where they are, honesty. And I gotta give the mayor credit and these guys credit, because they're being honest. Nobody's being dishonest, nobody's being distrustful with the information. They're putting the information out there. They have to understand and receive the information. Like my wife, she's like, what's this about? She wanna know, what's this about? You know? Yeah, okay, but she know what she did, she got involved. She went to when Mayor, Scott did what's the Bryant 101? She went through all that, 'cause she wanted to know what's going on, where's our money going? Why is this or why is that? She come to a couple of times and she sat in the back and listened on YouTube just so she get informed. Other people we know doing the same things. But again, you have to begin to take interest in where you live, because man, I came here because of what I liked and what I saw. And if I wanted to keep it this way or wanted to be even better than what it is, then what do I gotta do? I gotta get engaged. And that would be the message that I tell people when I'm in front of them, whether we at the park, we at Fall Fest or wherever. Because this is the community. That's why. Hey, what do you want to see? Well, I said when we was at the town hall, what do you want to see? It's gonna be, you're gonna do this or it's gonna be dead. Sooner or later it's gonna be dead. Then what you're gonna do? You're gonna pick up and what? Move to the next place that's nice that you want to like. But guess what's gonna happen when you get there? Same thing.
Yeah.
Well, I think one thing that's gotta be worked on is timelines.
Yeah.
I mean, can't decide we're gonna have a special election, and have it just around the corner every time we do it, and that's the way it's been.
I think that's the distrust.
We plan it as soon as we can plan to get it out there.
Didn't know about the BAM until, they didn't know it was gonna be in their, when did the venue change? These are questions I got. When did the venue change from over off Alcoa Road to Highway 5? It all happened so fast.
Yeah.
What
We
was the
need to,
rush?
if we're still gonna pursue this, we need to start now and continue until the next election 2 years from now, because that's the only way you'll get
There's two ways to
people to
grow your
listen
income.
and trust.
Yeah, you grow your city either economically, you grow your tax base, grow it, or you raise taxes. You pick your choice.
Right.
And that was one thing, and I don't know, y'all probably know because y'all are on the council. How much did, the pickleball courts, how much did that go over budget?
Oh, it was
Double.
double.
So, and that was one of the things that people asked me about, was how much is this gonna cost? Because the park cost double or whatever it was. They said, I think 1.5 times what it was supposed to and whatever. And like I said, I was like, does it matter? If you look every night, it's
And that's
full.
something that's used.
And I'm not,
all the
like,
time.
because I run over there, so it's like
All
a
the
half
time.
mile from my house. I run
Even
over there.
if
And it is packed full. The
Every
lights
night.
are on, and I'm like, there's all ages out there
every
from
night.
teens up, and they're like, yeah, but it costs more money.
We have a
But-
contingency for BAM. Yeah,
And I was just like, but,
That was the thing, the BAM had a cap,
yeah.
that whatever it went over, that was,
We had a construction manager at risk,
Mhm.
and that person would get a budget, and if they were to go over, they would be.
Yeah.
But I mean, it went very fast. Part of that was, the school is in talks of having an election in November, and they didn't want us to overlap. Other than that, I do agree, it went very fast. I don't know if going slower would have changed the outcome. We'll never know. This is the way it went, and there's nothing we can do to change it, but all we can do is get better for the next time.
well, I think if people could have looked at the pieces
Mhm.
better, such as, every single complaint there was a solution. There was an answer. That no one ever got to that part. They were upset because, Walmart was gonna be involved, and then Walmart dumped it. Walmart did a study that determined that what Bryant needed was not what they wanted to build. That they did a whole study for us, stating that we needed an indoor venue, not an outdoor venue. I mean, but it made it seem to someone that just wanted to just glance at it,
Mhm.
oh, Walmart was in, it was a bad idea, Walmart's out. No, Walmart did not want to build an indoor venue, but they knew that that's what Bryant needed.
I think one thing we have to remember is that perception is reality. Whatever they see is what is real to them. While that's, but it's not the best way to go about things, but it is whatever they see and whatever they hear is what they believe to be true.
Karen tells them.
So, I mean, yeah, we're good.
Well, another thing is, I know we can tell what we hear.
It's a Monday.
I know, motels are not a good place for our youth to work in, because that's where the bad things happen. And they don't want more motels, because they don't want our young people working. And, on I-30, they're worried about that too. A bad business getting going.
Our concerns.
But Mr. Wade made a good point, and I kind of think what he said, like, going forward. We all made some good points tonight, going forward, whether it was like the timelines and get stuff out so people can have a chance to think about that stuff, in all honesty, in every aspect. If we do that going forward, and if that's something that we're still going to pursue 2 years from now, then we need to start working on it now. And then what does that timeline look like? And then whatever information looks like as far as what are we going to be doing. But we got our marching orders as far as what we're going to be doing for Fall Fest. We need to be working on that. That should be the thing going forward. In my mind, that should be the thing going forward. And then whatever we're going to be doing, just map it out so that we can meet those goals, meet the people where they are as best as we can. God is all we can do. That's just it. I mean, we were Superman, we can change the world, we can change it just like that, but we ain't. All we can do is provide them, meet them where they are, and you can encourage them as much as you want. But it's going to be to do whatever whether it's a vote or to accept something or not accept something. I think that's the best thing that we can do from where we sit or where we stand. As long as we're doing all that we can and we're being truthful, we're being honest about it, and the information coming to us is truthful, then you can't ask for nothing else. But that timeline, like you said, and laying stuff out, giving people a chance to see it, to view it, where it's going to find the information at, here's where you can find the information at, giving them what they need so they can make a reasonable decision, I think that's paramount. We must do that in all aspects, on whatever committees, chamber, whatever we in, we got to do that, because if we don't do that, then we're shortchanging not only ourselves, but we're shortchanging the people. Straight up.
Yeah, about good information, because right before I came to this thing, I didn't get time to read it, but my wife handed me a Benton Cougar. On the front page of it was that he got voted down, and it was 8,000 to 9,000 seating, I believe is what it quoted. It wasn't 3,000 to 5,000, I'm pretty sure it was 8,000 to 9,000. I mean, that conflicting information, good before, after, whenever, is not good.
Yeah.
I mean, if it was 8 to 9, we need to be able to say, on the graduation, because we don't want to have it in War Memorial Stadium where you're sweating, you stocking.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think we need to go
We'll need
more
an umbrella.
more event. Like, we had a duck derby, but how many people actually showed up from the community for duck derby?
Well, there's quite a few there.
Yeah. And we
But
didn't,
in a town of 20,000 people,
Fall Fest is definitely more attended,
you know,
but I don't know that we have a bunch of.
Christmas in the Park, is that your event or is that
Mhm.
chamber?
That's my event, city event.
And that was part of us early on, was hosting some more of those nights. Like, not just being a partner, but actually hosting it.
Be great.
And giving people something to do so that they can come out. Because part of it was not just informing them what's going on, but building that community sense.
I think as a committee, and then we have, what, like 2, 3, 4 meetings, is it? June, July, August, and September,
Mhm.
4 meetings. I think we can, like, really build our tents and our
Mhm.
meetings, so we can make our communities like the destination to go
Mhm.
Yeah.
submit your questions, and, people can really know. So I guess we can like really plan how to become the, to come in.
Are there any back-to-school things going on?
Like 4 months.
Not that I know of.
I think you're, yeah.
We trying to wait for summer break, right? That's the only thing they care about right now, summer break. So
Yes,
you-
sir.
That's
Next
something
meeting's like
that's a good idea for
expanding
somebody
CEC.
to come up with, because there's some in Benton, but Benton says, for Benton students only.
Mm-hmm.
They just specifically say that. And I know Alexander has a big event too for back to school. Bryant doesn't have anything, but Bryant does provide, supplies.
Mhm.
They do that, fill the bus.
Where's the salt bowl at this year?
It'll be in Benton.
That's gonna be all over with all.
Yep, they're gonna switch it off every year, Benton Bryant.
Too bad it wasn't there in town this year, because then we kind of do a community engagement thing there too.
Good. They have a tailgate before the actual game. So everybody looks like they're getting ready to, would y'all like to move the upcoming ward meetings to next meeting?
Yeah.
Honestly. We'll talk about that next meeting. And Fall Fest. That works for everybody.
Can we, for Christmas in the park now?
Yes, I already have a meeting scheduled for Wednesday to start talking about Christmas in the park.
Hey, I'm out of work. I'll need something to do.
You can plan Christmas in the park for me then.
Yeah, I was gonna
Not
say,
with you, with you.
Yeah, just let me know what time it is.
Okay, yeah.
I actually did a foster care awareness night. It was decent.
Nice. Right, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn if nobody has anything.
Adjourn.
Second. Have you seen those YouTube videos where, like, they explain it to, like, a high schooler, like, they explain it at 3 levels, and one of the lowest levels, like a kindergartner?
No.
Like, I was thinking about it, like, having a centralized page,
Mhm.
like, to go to, you can still have all these other social media pages, but to have a centralized page where it's like,